Hello everybody and welcome back to another not applicable Formula 1 video. I hope that you are well. And I recently just delved into a race video which completely threw me for six. I had no idea that this was going on the grid and I thought I really want to discuss this with you guys, so I've made an extra video this week. It has been announced that Max Verstappen has a little bit of a secret weapon under the hood of his Formula 1 car. He's added a little bit of spice to the Formula 1 season already with 7 races left to go. And it's safe to say that since the summer break, Max Verstappen has been phenomenal. He has been excellent all season long. A win in Spa, win in Zandvoort, DNF in Italy to be fair, with that little collision with Lewis Hamilton. And of course a surprise podium in Russia after he came out of absolutely nowhere and came all the way from the back of the grid all the way to very, very close to the front, a second place finish. But Max Verstappen, overall this season, has been absolutely excellent. And apparently, Red Bull have added a little secret upgrade in the mid-season. That's right, Max Verstappen has had an upgrade on his car for the last 4 races, and nobody really knew about it. So Honda have recently divulged that they added a little bit extra into Max Verstappen's car over the summer break. They used that gap in the summer season to make sure that Max Verstappen was in tip-top form moving into the second half and the latter stages of this title fight. And I mean, it kind of explains why he maybe made Zandvoort look so incredibly easy. And of course, got a fairly easy win in Spa. I don't really know if we're still counting that as a race or not, but he got the win technically in Spa. And I think it was a good tactic from Honda personally. They kept all of their, secrets under wraps. Nobody really knew what was happening for those first 3 races, and Honda kept their cards very, very close to the chest. Although, we should probably all have noticed that something odd was going on. Let me take you back a couple of races to Zandvoort, and you might remember that Sergio Perez didn't have the best of qualifying sessions. And in fact, it was a pretty terrible qualifying session from Perez. We know he's not a qualifier, but even still. And you might remember that Sergio Perez at this Grand Prix decided to take a power unit engine penalty and change some of the new components in his engine. So actually, he ended up starting from the pit lane rather than starting at the back of the grid because they completely overhauled the power unit and took that penalty completely. And then you also might remember something very, very similar happening the next race in Italy. Like, if we take you to Monza, Pierre Gasly qualifies actually very well, has a sprint race nightmare though, ends up hitting the wall. And if you recall, Gasly also ends up changing his power unit and starting from the pit lane for the race. So both of these Honda powered teams taking back-to-back penalties on their engine, changing them out. So we really should have known that something was afoot, shouldn't we? And then Verstappen, obviously, he did actually switch his power unit in Spa. And that was something that completely went under the radar for me because it wasn't seen as anything untoward. Obviously, he didn't pick up a penalty for it either. So we didn't really see it happen. And when it came to Zandvoort, he was absolutely sensational. And in Spa, he was absolutely sensational. So actually, 3 out of the 4 Honda-powered cars was just Yuki Tsunoda that hadn't changed their power unit and hadn't upgraded their power unit all at this very similar time of the season. And for me, it just didn't click. It didn't coincide. Like, I think the problem was it coincided with problems for Perez and problems for Gasly. So nobody really looked at it in any sort of difficult way, right? Nobody delved into this, oh, why is Honda making those changes? It sort of made sense to take the penalty for Perez when he'd qualified so poorly, and it made sense to take the penalty for Gasly when they were completely rebuilding the car anyway in Italy. So nobody really thought to question any of these things. And, I personally failed to even notice that this was happening, and I think this was really, really clever from Honda because they brought in this new upgrade, this new secret weapon that they decided to add to all of their Honda-powered cars. And if it had failed, I don't think anyone would have noticed. Like, I think they could have just changed it back and none of the competitors would have been any wiser to this whatsoever. And then obviously we get to the last race that we had last time out in Russia, and Max Verstappen finally took another engine penalty, took a brand new power unit for Russia, and again, had that secret component. But now we know what the secret component is. And you're probably wondering, James, just get on with it. Tell me what this new component is in these Red Bull cars. Well, first of all, we have to talk about Honda. They have completely overhauled the engine when it comes to this 2021 season. At the beginning of the year, they changed absolutely every single component that they possibly could under the regulations. But they opted to keep the same energy store, so the same battery, as part of their hybrid system. Actually, it's been the same battery that they've had since 2015. So Honda haven't upgraded this battery since they first made a hybrid engine in 2015. You know, when they first combined with Red Bull and Honda and made their first integration engine for this era, that's the last time they upgraded this power store. So finally, we're looking at this as a brand new upgraded power store for Red Bull, because it hadn't been upgraded earlier on in the season, so they didn't have to take any penalties for upgrading it now, obviously apart from the penalties that you get for changing the power unit anyway. And the upgrade was actually supposed to come in 2022, but Honda obviously pulled out of Formula One, and they're not going to be part of the 2022 season. So it's kind of a little bit like Honda's leaving present to Red Bull in a season where it could also coincide with them winning a World Drivers' Championship and possibly a Constructors' Championship too. So what this power unit upgrade has done, and this energy store upgrade has done, is increase the overall energy of this hybrid system. So the energy of the overall engine and power unit is now a lot higher, as well as reducing the overall weight of the battery itself, meaning that that weight can be distributed further out in the power unit, make changes to the engine, make changes to the other parts of the engine and the systems around it. And this is massive for Max Verstappen and also Red Bull. Like, it's sort of twofold. It really helps them in this season where they do need a bit of a kick up the backside, and, you know, they need an extra little bit of pace, right? No, of course they don't. They're already winning everything, but now they've got even more power and even more just ability to go out there and win races under Max Verstappen. But also with Red Bull taking over the engine manufacturing side of things for 2022, when Honda finally pull out and Red Bull are going to make their own engine for their teams, it massively helps them and aids them in that first few years of manufacture. I was fairly worried about Red Bull going into next season. You know, they're building a brand new engine from scratch. They've never done it before. I know they've got a lot of help from Honda, but it's still a big task for them to take on. And if they would have had to do this energy store and the electrical side of the engine system as well, that would have been a massive, massive strain on their resources. But Honda have done that for them this year. So now moving into 2022, they don't need to worry about this side of the manufacturing process and, you know, upgrading this side of the manufacturing process for the first few years. So they no longer have to worry about upgrading this energy store. Now, what I want to know from you guys is, will this push Max Verstappen to a title? Is this enough just to push him over the edge? He was already looking sensational this season, as I've said. You know, the battle between these two is getting closer and closer and closer. We're seeing them collide over and over and over again. And at the time of recording, just 2 points between them with 7 races to go. And this must be a huge boost for Max Verstappen, knowing that he was probably already in the best car out there. I mean, he's got 7 wins already this season, and for my betting, was probably the personal favourite to win the title this year. The Red Bull car for me just looks like the overall faster package already, let alone now adding on this new energy store, this new power unit section that is going to increase the power of the car overall and also reduce the weight of that battery. Like, I'm astounded that Red Bull have been able to do this in the middle of the season, and in such a tight season as well. Like, not only that, I'm worried about the psychological effect that Max Verstappen just winning and winning and winning and winning is going to have on the Mercedes team. Like, Max Verstappen looks cool, calm, and collected, and now he's even got a boost, and that psychological effect that might have them on the Mercedes team when they're already struggling to catch Red Bull at quite a few of the circuits this year. Lewis Hamilton has made quite a few mistakes this year. Valtteri Bottas doesn't look like he's going to get in the way of Max Verstappen ever for the team this year. And, you know, he's moving on next season, so he's not going to be too bothered about it at all. I'd love to know your opinions in the comments below. Do you think that this upgrade could be just that tiny little edge, you know, in a season where every single 10th of a second counts, could be that tiny little edge that pushes Max Verstappen to this title? Or do you think Lewis Hamilton will see this and be like, just another hoop to jump through? I'm Lewis Hamilton, I'm a 7-time world champion. Of course I'm going to go on and win this season anyway. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like if you'd enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you are enjoying this content. We're, of course, live for the Turkey Grand Prix this weekend if you want to come over. We've got the pre-race preamble on Friday. We've got the race on we've got the qualifying on Saturday and the race on Sunday as well. Lots of stuff happening over the channel soon, and I will see you next time.